I'm really proud to be supporting the MSC for Sustainable Seafood Week 2021. I'm here at Brixham Harbour and I've chosen some fresh sardines from the market this morning. Who doesn't love a nice grilled sardine? Now the message this year for Sustainable Seafood Week is all hands on deck. We want to encourage as many people as possible to get behind the national seafood movement and choose sustainable seafood not just for this week but into the future too. When you choose fish with the MSC label, you can be absolutely sure of where it's come from. Not only that, you're protecting communities, livelihoods and traditions of fishermen all around the world. And most importantly, making a sustainable choice means that we have fish for the future, and we all want that, right? I'm lucky enough to live in Brixham, which is home to some of the best seafood in the world. And these sardines are in absolute immaculate condition. And they catch these out in the bay here, and they catch them in Mounts Bay in Cornwall. And if you stand on the beach in the evening, you can see these small boats with their lights on, working, catching these huge shoals of sardines that sit there in the bay. So when you go to your fishmonger in your shop, what you're looking for is these wonderful bright eyes. You can see this almost golden around the black pupil. The fish themselves are sparkling, the scales are all on the fish, and you're looking for this lovely bright silver, almost steely grey colour down the backs of the fish. Now for this recipe we're going to grill them. I think one of the beautiful things about sardines is blistering and blackening the skin and then just eating with your fingers. I mean, they truly are a magnificent seafood. And we're going to serve them with a salsa rossa. Now a salsa rossa is just a roasted and grilled tomato, pepper, sort of quite thick pasty sauce that you lift with vinegar and spices and fresh chili, and it just works so well with this lovely oily fish. And I really think these sardines are probably some of the best fish we catch off of our British shores. So first off, we're going to make the salsa rossa, and it's important to make sure that your grill is nice and hot before we start. I've got a frying pan which I'm going to use to put all these ingredients in and just get them really blackened and get the skins blistered before we make the final sauce. So I'm going to take the sides off this pepper. Just want the flesh, the skin side up in the pan. So the chilies I've just split in half and I'm putting those skin side up as well. I'm going to put 3 chilies in here, leave the seeds in. I like my sauce to be really really punchy. And then I'm going to slice through some nice sweet tomatoes, dot those in the pan. Not too many, 3 tomatoes. This is about the pepper and chilies, and the tomato is really a sort of binder. So the peppers, tomatoes, chilies are all covered with nice olive oil, plenty of salt. The grill is raging hot, and I'm just going to place them on a shelf directly below the heat, just to allow them to blister, soften and cook. So you can see that everything is really kind of blistered and softened, that pepper is there. And there's one final stage we need to go through. So we're going to tip everything, including the oil, all the salt, all those lovely juices. So I'm now just going to cover that with cling film, just to allow those vegetables to steam and finish softening. And so you can leave those for about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can see how that last stage has got everything really nice and soft. Now what we're going to do is to just peel, everything's cool, just peel the skin, chilies. I'm going to leave some of the seeds in there because I like the heat. Quite like all those blackened bits being in there, they really kind of add to the flavour. A real nice roasted chili taste. And the same with the peppers. So we're just roughly chopping the chilies and the peppers. You don't want them too fine, but you want all those really nice blackened bits, and they're going to go in with the oil. Going with the oil and the tomatoes in there. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of this rose harissa, which is lots of cumin, punchy chilies, paprika. I'm going to add that. Got some oregano, dried oregano going in there. Now I'm going to add some finely chopped red onion. Then I'm adding some red wine vinegar. Good glug of that to lift everything up. And then we're going to mix everything together, crushing down those tomatoes and giving us that real kind of rough chop. So then I'm going to take a clove of garlic, just grate it very finely, raw into the sauce. And I've got, finally to finish, I've got some fresh basil leaves, which I'm just quite rough. The whole thing is just a rough chop. Give everything a final stir, really mix that garlic around. Let's have all that basil in there. And then taste-wise, before you season, what I'm looking for is that lovely heat of the chili, that fragrance, that oregano, got lovely fresh basil, vinegar that's lifted the whole thing up. It's a super thing to go with oily fish. So now let's cook our sardines. And here's a tip for you. I really like to use a frying pan as my grill pan. I can just sit it on top of the grill pan in the oven and keep everything all inside this pan. So I've just lightly oiled the base of it. I'm rubbing the fish around to make sure they're lightly coated on that bottom side, turning them over so they get a full coating. And then we're going to take some salt, very liberally, sprinkle it all over the fish. So my grill is raging hot. I preheated it before I wanted to cook the sardines, and I've got my grill tray right at the very top so that the grill is just over the top of the frying pan, and I'm going to pop that in there. They don't need turning under the grill. The frying pan is just a raging heat, and so what you get is that wonderful blistered top skin, and we're just this is just a nice light starter. So I'm going to take a tablespoon this lovely salsa. That's all you need. And then I've got some rocket. I'm just going to add a squeeze of lemon juice too. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to add some really good quality olive oil, something peppery and nice. And lastly, to finish, just a nice drizzle of peppery olive oil. And there you are, grilled sardines with salsa rossa. That is just my kind of plate of food. Simple, it's all about the fish, and these MSC sardines are just totally delicious. And the joy of them is that really salty, blistered skin, and they're wonderful, oily fish. I could sit for hours picking these things apart. What a way to enjoy Sustainable Seafood Week with a nice plate of freshly grilled MSC Mounts Bay sardines. Absolutely delicious.